We're continuing the theme of building a learning planet for living with a young man who is fighting to ensure we have a climate and habitat we can survive and thrive in. An architect for tomorrow who is proof that there is no age limit to being active and engaged. Francisco Vera was just 9 when he started his life's work as a climate activist and a defender of the right to a healthy environment, and he has dedicated himself to education for years through the group Guardians for Life. Welcome to LP Vision, Francisco. It's so nice to have you here.
Thank you so much. Very glad to be with you today. Thank you for inviting me.
You know, Francisco, it's truly inspiring to hear what you've achieved at such a young age. Can you tell us what Guardians of Life is and what inspired you to create it?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Guardians for Life is a movement that I started when I was 9 years old. I started with my colleagues from the school, and right now we are more than 700 children around all Colombia, all over the region, the Latin American and Caribbean region, and Spain also. And we are working especially on environmental, climate, and citizen education, precisely the topic that congregate us, no? So we are working on the inclusion also of children, of the powerful voice that the children have. And also we are making all as possible as we can to take climate action and to make governments take climate action and take the different measures that are necessary to mitigate the impact of climate change. What inspired me to create it? Basically, it was the situation in the Amazon region, in the Amazon forest. In 2019, it was very difficult because of the deforestation and also the fire there. And in fact, right now, Colombia is living a very difficult situation again with the forest fire. So basically, the injustice, the impacting of that situation was what inspired me to take action. Yeah, there is a phrase of international amnesty that says, take the injustice, the social injustice, but also I add the environmental and social injustice as something personal. Is that I think the what inspired me to take climate action and to create this movement. Thank you.
It is amazing to hear you talk about this, Francisco. You are not only a climate activist, but you are also an author. Your children's book, What is Climate Change, is a fantastic way to engage young minds. If you were to describe the book's essence in a sentence that captures its essence, what would it be?
Yeah, my book, I think here, in fact, here it is. I'm gonna to
Yeah,
show you.
please go ahead and bring it.
Here it is. It is translated also to Arabic, into Arabic.
Yeah.
And I think that the main essence of the book is that anyone who have doubts and questions about the question of the climate crisis, of the climate change, and of the situation in our world, can learn about these pages. So I think that that's the main essence, that also the what is writing also can get influence in the people who read. That's the objective of the book. Yeah, that's it. I think that the main essence is to make conscious more people around the world to take climate action together.
I completely agree with you. Francisco, you began your activism journey at the age of 9. What challenges have you faced as a young change maker, and what are the most valuable lessons you have learned along the way?
Well, I think that the main challenges that I have had to face is the simply fact of my age. And it is very sad to say that, because the age shouldn't be something that shame us the age when we start. In fact, I think that is something that should as proud. But what I say that because we live in an adult-centric society, so the spaces to create the policies to face, for example, the climate crisis and many other challenges, for example, the war, the hunger, the poverty, the challenges of the future are basic, let's say that, dominated or controlled by the adults, no? The rulers of the world are only adults, and the children are totally exclusive, no? But increasingly, we are seeing how there are more and more spaces for the children to take the floor and speak out for our rights, for our future, and for the planet, basically, is simply understand that we are defending our future. We are defending our rights, the right to have a dignified and sustainable and clean environment. It's a human right. So I think that's the main challenge, the age, and take part of the decision making. And also the main and most valuable lesson that I have learned is that if we want to change the world, it is difficult to do it, first of all. I'm not saying impossible. We have to take action with EcoHub.
I completely agree with you. And this brings me to my next question, Francisco. As an architect for tomorrow, what, in your opinion, needs to change to ensure that young voices like yourself are heard and integrated into the decision making process? How can we make this happen, in your opinion?
I think that first of all, the first step that we have to do if we want to do something real is to have a willingness. If there is no willingness to include the children and the different population that have been historically excluded, we cannot do anything. Basically, if there is willingness to take climate action, I think that is as simple as just take the climate action. Yeah, just include the children. And how? I think that through more spaces to hear their opinions, to hear their experiences, to hear all what they have to say, they go to say. And also, I think that, in fact, it's not something about the policies, about create the spaces to hear the children. It's also a cultural change, no? Because if you ask to an adult about what children have to say, what the children have to contribute, will not take into account that, no? So it's like start to hearing our children, start paying more attention to them, and to really taking into account in the decision making their opinions, because finally the decisions that have been taken, the only ones who will be affected by them are the children, no? The adults who are taking the decisions will be not affected by them, by the consequences of those decisions. The children will be affected by them.
It is truly empowering to hear you talk about this, Francisco. And this brings me to my last question. How can people follow you and find out more about your work?
Well, you can find me in my social media as Francisco Activist, or my movement also, Guardians for Life. And finally, thank you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for be fighting, be strongly for the climate action for our future together. Thank you, Francois, by the way, also for leading all that, and to all the young people who is doing it also. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Continue forward.
Thank you so
Move
much,
forward.
Francisco, for joining us at LP Vision and for sharing with us your wisdom at a young age, and for showing us that anyone can be an architect for tomorrow regardless of their age. If you're a young game changer like Francisco, make sure you apply to become a Learning Planet Youth Fellow and meet people like you and me and Francisco already making a difference to the world around them. You can find out more details and how to apply on the Learning Planets platform. The URL is at the bottom of the screen. And this is also where you'll find out everything that's going on as part of the Learning Planet Festival right now.
Thanks for that great interview with Francisco Ream. We are so proud to have young voices here on LP Vision. As we said earlier, at the Learning Planet, we believe that education must go beyond the traditional classroom and curriculum so as to enable us to take better care of ourselves, each other, and our planet.